Tiago, you never logged out because you come up as the Daf now.
I was wondering why I didn't ask me for a password.
Yeah. Well, you didn't
Sorry,
hit record yesterday.
What?
You didn't hit record.
I don't know where to hit record. Your son took care of it, not me.
No, he brought it over. I left it set up for you. I figured you would hit record when you saw it, but I think we missed out on the mission. No, I hit record when I got home. I think you were up to halfway through the mission.
I hear. Okay. All right. I'm sorry I'm late. There's a big daf tonight. So I was by bar mitzvah and the guy just darshened away. So couldn't get out of there. Okay, Ton Rabanan, right? Bottom of Chafam Beis. Ton Rabanan, right? So we're talking about all the different koilos. Yeah? So Ton Rabanan. Shalosh koilos holchen b'sayfa olam vat sayfa. There are three koilos that go from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Ve'eluhein kol galgal chama, the voice of the sound of the sun going around. The call hamayna shoroimi, which I don't know exactly what that means. Is that like stadiums? The noise from stadiums? Right, that's what it's. I don't know. That's what I would think. The call Neshama b'shasha yotzim min haguf, and the voice of the Neshama when it goes out of the body. And some say even birth. Right? So those are three sounds that go all over. All right. Af Ridya, even Ridya. So Rashi says that it's the Malach that's appointed on water. Right? Of all the liquids, I guess, that go around the earth. So and his name was Ridya. Yeah, so that sound also goes, whatever sounds he makes also goes all around the world. And the Rabanan had Rachmanis when the Neshama leaves the Guf, and then they will mavatal it, that it shouldn't make any noise. Tani Kav said to Rav Shila, so we learned like Rav Shila, right, if somebody goes out on the way before Kriyas HaGever, right? Remember, Rav Shila was yesterday, who said that it's a tarnagal, that the Kriyas HaGever is a tarnagal. So somebody who goes out before the tarnagal said, what do you call it? Rooster? What do you call it? Clucks? No, it's not clucks. Whatever it's called, crows, whatever noise it makes. Tell my Barosha, his blood is on his own head, meaning he's responsible for his death if he dies, right? Because he's not supposed to see. Rashi's lashon is different from the Gemara's lashon is a yotze l'derech, and Rashi sticks in a yotze yechidi l'derech. He goes by himself, like we learned at the end of Pesachim that if you go out with multiple people, then that's safer, right? So Rav Yoshia until it's Achi Yishna, actually, until the rooster makes the second noise. Until it makes the third time. What kind of tarnagal we're saying? But tarnagal beinani, talking about your medium average rooster, meaning it's not a zoriz, it's not the earliest one, and it's not the latest one either. It's the average time. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Shashi, so now this is wild. I heard a lot of Magidei Shir already discuss this, that this Gemara is right here in the matzav that we're in, that today was all the Levayas never. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Shashi Yisrael Oilam Regel, when Klal Yisrael's Oilam Regel, Oimdim Tzfufin, they are standing stuffed together, mamish stuffed in. Right? So meaning there's no room for them at all. Rashi says, there's no mokum to turn onto the side, not even to turn from side to side. There's no room for them to move whatsoever, and each person is standing up straight, like a beam, right, or like a pillar. And not only that, but they get lifted off the ground, right? I mean, it just brings up a little bit raw, some raw things here. But that's what happened by the Beis Hamikdash. Yet right? But when they bowed down, when it came time to bowing down, they had plenty of room. That was a nace. Yeah, meaning it expanded, so everybody was able to bow down. And it was such a big crowd that the 11 amas that were behind the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which nobody did anything with that usually, but even that was taken up by people. My Gomer, what does that mean? Right? Even though there were so many Yidden that they even took up the 11 amas behind the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and they were so crowded, they were standing packed in. When they bow down, they bow down for Ravachim. Yeah. What?
Wasn't that 11 Amos part of Ezra's Kuna?
It was, yes. So why were they allowed there? I think it was just I think it was just a runoff. No?
So they were allowed into Ezra's Kuna?
Yes, they were.
I guess so. That's what you have to say, no?
But just that part. How did they? I mean, they came in through a different entrance, I guess. They couldn't
It says in
walk through the
our scroll
Azara.
that ordinarily it was permitted only to Kohanim, but on Shalosh Regalim, they needed the space.
Specifically that part, because it wasn't used for anything else.
Yeah.
I always thought the Eindim Tzfufin was its own nace also. Because it's an open plaza. How do you Eindim Tzfufin with no border? There's no fencing them in.
What do you mean there's no fence? There's walls around the Mikdash. What do you mean there's no fence?
Yeah, but between the Ezra's Yisrael and the Ezra's Kahuna, there's 3 steps. If someone's so stuffed that that their feet are lifted off the ground, they got to be pushed up the steps.
Okay,
The fact that they did
Yes, so what are you saying?
I'm sorry you don't like it, Aaron, and I apologize.
So what
profusely.
are you saying?
I'm saying Eindim Tzfufin is just as big a nace as Mishtachvim Revacha.
What, that they're alive?
By nature, they would have been pushed into Ezra's Kayanim, Ezra's Kahuna.
I hear, right? Okay.
The
No,
laws
fair
of
enough.
nature would have decided that.
Right. No, I hear that.
so maybe they weren't the Ezra School. Who told you they weren't? What are you making things up for?
It's just the tire. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Anyways, no, I listen, you're right. The whole thing, some of these Nisim, I'm not sure which way it's going. Yeah, we'll see weiter, because some of the Nisim, you're not. Yeah, well, let's see how it goes. Yeah, for
Let me ask you something. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, we'll go weiter. Yeah, so
To me, it's not
more
room
than
for a
the
lot
10
of people. It's not a big space. The whole building's not a big space. It's 600 feet by 270 feet, and half of it's buildings. So how many people could fit in there already anyway?
So you're saying, so everybody's minded that there were major Nisim. You're just having a machlokes over what,
I mean,
which part was the nace.
There's not. How many people fit in there? How many people could fit in 600 feet long and 300 feet and 270 feet wide, and half of it is buildings? How many people could fit in?
It's about the size of a football stadium.
Quite
a few, I'd say.
Not a stadium.
Football field.
So
Sorry.
how many people could fit in already?
Wow. Did you not have enough coffee today?
Okay, you know what?
Okay, anyways, let's go back.
Everybody's
Yaakov.
responding from this. How many people was it?
Yaakov, was this nace also in the in Bayesheni as well?
Oh, so we're gonna see that, not necessarily. It's not mechalik here between Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni.
Right, but I thought all
Right.
like the
Right now
the
it's
Beis Hamikdash disappeared by Bayesheni. Wouldn't this be one of the greatest
Not
nisim
all.
of
From
not
the
all of
Gemara,
them?
From the Gemara later, it's mashma that not all the nisim disappeared, just some. We'll see on Amud Beis. Let's see on Amud Beis. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go back. This is one of the 10 nisim that happened in the Mikdash. The Beis Hamikdash. There were 10 nisim in the Beis Hamikdash. Lahipila isha mereach basar hekdesh hakodesh. I'm sorry, right? That no woman miscarried from the strong smell of the meat, right? which I don't know. Okay, I don't know exactly how strong a meat can. I guess pregnant women don't like the strong meat smell. I don't know, right? The basar hektish me'olam, and basar hektish never decayed, even though you had 2 days. The carbon shlamim, you had 2 days to eat it, and also it wasn't always necessarily burned on the Mizbeach right away. There was no flies in the shchita section, right? No flies in the shchita section of the Beis Hamikdash. Don't they say some gedolim never saw flies next to them, right? This Maisa were Moshe Feinstein that people said there's flies all over, nothing bothered. I think they say that, yeah. That's a loaded one, and there was no carry. No kohen gadol ever saw carry. So what does that mean? We had how many mishnayos about how far they went to make sure the kohen doesn't see carry, right? So the Mefarshim asks, so if there was a nace anyway, so what are you bothering? Right? What are you bothering with all this stuff? Right. So then the Pashut teretz of that was ain't Simchan ala nace. Right?
We worry about it's only on Yom Kippur. I'm saying it's the kash only on Yom Kippur. The 7 days before Yom Kippur, it never said that it never was near before Yom Kippur. You're only asking kash on Yom Kippur itself.
Right, yeah. Yom Kippur by night.
Right.
But these nisim happened all the time, no?
Yeah. What do you mean?
No, this nace says only on Yom Kippur.
Carry on Yom Kippur. Right? So that's okay. But
I think Stamazai, this is the biggest chizuk I've ever seen in a Gemara. It's considered a nace that a kohen gadol didn't see carry on Yom Kippur. That's a nace. The holiest day of the year, one of the holiest Eden, it's a nace that he didn't see carry.
Right, so don't beat yourself up all the time, Gershon. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It's a big chizuk.
I'm telling you, don't beat yourself up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he said that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And nobody prepares us.
Correct.
Right.
I mean, there's no right.
No one's sequestering us for 7 days to prepare us not to do any Avera.
Uh-huh.
Right. And Hanami. So yeah. Anyways. So so that's it. But those are the kashas that they asked. Fine. They never saw a psul in the korban aimer. Right? That's the one that's brought second day Pesach. Shtei Lechem is the on Shavuos. Lechem Hapanim, and in the Lechem Hapanim, the 12 breads. Fine. And then Aimdim Tzufim Mishtachim Revachim. That's our Gemara. They were all very standing tight, and they were able to bow down. And there was no damage from any snakes or scorpions in Yerushalayim. Somebody want to say something? Toby?
Yeah. What pasul could there be with grains? So with the carbon iron?
Yeah, it could be, let's say something, I don't know, let's say it became tummy.
Uh-huh.
All right. That's what I would think. If it became tummy, or for some reason, because they were limited in how much they didn't just take tons of flour, they did a limited amount. Right? So yeah. Right. V'lo hizik nachash v'agri Yerushalayim me'olam. V'lo amar adam l'chaveri tzar li hamakom sha'alin b'Yerushalayim. And no person ever said that it's tzar li hamakom in Yerushalayim. I'm too packed in. I'm not comfortable in Yerushalayim. So I'm not so sure what the nace is on that one. Is the nace that nobody was cramped or that nobody complained? Right? And it would be a chiddush. Everybody goes up to Yerushalayim for Yom Tov and nobody complained. I think that's the nace, that nobody complained. But I don't know. Lulu Mistafina, I would say that was the nace. But I would think everybody was comfortable.
Well, we said in Psachim that it's not that they all have to be on the ground floor. So the Itaka would have been it's Taka a huge nace that they weren't stam daichik, all cramped up.
No, very good. That's a good point, Taka. That's a good point. Right. So then the Gemara asks, okay, so those are the 10. So then the Gemara says, Pasach b'mikdash v'sayim b'Yerushalayim. The last two, were Yerushalayim, not the Beis Hamikdash. You said there's 10 nisim in the Beis Hamikdash, right? And then the last two was Yerushalayim. So my answer is Ikatarti Achranaisa b'Mikdash. No, there were 2 more in the Beis Hamikdash. Titania me'olam lekavuk shamim eish al atzei amarocha. The water, the rain never came and put out the fire that's on the Mizbeach. Right, the Mizbeach was outside. The fire never put it out. For Oshan amarocha, and the smoke from the top of the Mizbeach, afilu kala rucha shabaylam ba'is v'nashas by. Even if all the wind in the world would come and blow it, and mazizas ha'isam imkame, it wouldn't move. Right? Meaning the smoke didn't go, didn't spread out, it went straight up, which the Gemara on Amud Beis is going to ask a lot of kashas on this. Fine. So those are 2 more. So basically we have 10. What? I don't know.
Yeah. If it happened in Yerushalayim, then presumably the Beis Hamikdash is included. It's still an ace in the Beis Hamikdash.
That's true, but it's saying but it's saying that it's in Yerushalayim. But you're saying Yerushalayim. So now it comes out we have 10 nisim in the Beis Hamikdash, 2 in Yerushalayim, which you're right, the Beis Hamikdash is included in Yerushalayim. But when it was saying nisim Beis Hamikdash, mashma exclusive to the Beis Hamikdash and not to Yerushalayim, right? That's a. So Gemara says v'su leka, there were no other nisim. Vatani Rav Shmaya b'Kalnboy, right? Rav Shmaya taught in Kalroy. I don't know why the Gemara has to say where he taught this, but okay. But he taught he said a brisa. Shivrei klecheres nivlaim mekamin. So basically, all kalim that they use, this is akdama for this. All kalim that we use in the Beis Hamikdash absorb taste, right? Now that taste from whatever they ate from the karbonos became nicer. The taste that was absorbed in the kalim became nicer. Right, after the night and a day, or for shlomim 2 days and a night, those became treif, because the taste that was absorbed in the kalim became treif. So you had to kasher all the kalim. So what do you do with kli cheres that can't be kashered? So you smash them. That's what they had to do. So they smashed them on the floor in the Beis Hamikdash, and the Gemara is saying what her nisim is that it would be a whole lot of cheres. The ground just it got absorbed into the ground, all the kli cheres. Abai, and Abai said Ma'irav and Noitza. That's the feathers and the crop of the bird that didn't go on the Mizbeach. I'm sorry, none of it was right. It wasn't going on the Mizbeach. They just threw it on the floor. V'tishan Mizbeach Apnimi, and taking the ashes from the Mizbeach Apnimi, V'tishan HaMenorah, and all the ashes from the menorah, they just threw it on the floor and it got absorbed into the floor. Right? Rashi says the Mizbeach HaChitzon, like we learned in yesterday's daf, Rashi there says that they also threw it on the floor. So the shaila is why the Gemara doesn't mention that. Okay, either way, these are other nisim that took place in the Beis Hamikdash. How come it's not brought down? So the Gemara says, Psulei Tlasahava, the Psulim, right? We said that the Aimer never became puzzle, the Shtei Lechem never became puzzle, and the Lechem Hapanim never became puzzle. So the Gemara is saying those 3 chashvinu b'chad, those were all one. We don't count those as 3 individual nisim. It's all the same nes. And apik trei v'ayel trei. So then you take out 2 of those, because if you have 3 of them, 3 different nisim, and you take away 2 because you say that those 3 nisim really became one. So now it gives you 2 extra, and that comes to tell us that the kli cheres and the other stuff all got absorbed in the ground. So the Gemara asks obvious question: the blue nami trei hava, right? The blue one should also should give you 2 chashvinu b'chad chasrulu, right? And you should count them as 1, and then you're missing, right? Because we said there's a few things that get absorbed in the ground. Why don't we count that as 1 nace? Why is each thing that gets absorbed in the ground counted as a separate nace? So economy, the Gemara answers no. Economy, there is another one that we could add. There was a big nace that happened with the Lechem Hapanim. See, Luka Kisidure. That the same way when they removed it is the way it was when Sidure, when Masader it, when they put it down. Shenemar, Lasum Lechem Chaim B'Yayim Hilach. That they put down hot bread as if it was the way they put it down. Meaning, even though the bread sat on the table for a week, it was just as fresh when they took it off as when they put it down. Fine. So that's the 10th nace. Psul
Just
Lecha, and there's no more.
as far as the psul in Lechem Hapanim, that it also didn't become chametz. You had chametz in the Beis Hamikdash all the time. Every taita was a quarter chametz. So there's chametz matzah going around the whole Beis Hamikdash all the time. That psul v'chayri to make any of nachas chametz will be a psul.
So what are you saying?
Another way to an additional part of the nace. It didn't become possible. It didn't become chametz.
Yeah.
Why is that a
very good.
nace?
No, because then it not becoming chametz.
Why is that a nace?
Because there was chametz and matzah going around everywhere. The whole Beis Hamikdash was full of chametz and matzah.
So they were careful, no?
Yeah, when we're careful, put them in a different room. When they're careful, they bring them to the Mizbeach at the same time.
So?
Yeah. Kaidim's reason, man.
That's right. You've been telling me for 300 different blocks. Kaidim's reason, man. So?
Yeah.
That was reason. No.
Okay, let's go. No, okay, so you're saying that that's another facet of the nace. Okay, let's see, right. The Vasul Lekan, there's no more. We have a Messiah from our fathers. Makam Aron, right? This is a famous one, I think it's famous. That the Aron didn't take up any space in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. We need a little bit of math for this, right? Because the Aron, the Kodesh HaKadoshim was what do you call it? 20 by 20. What?
No, 20.
Kodesh HaKadoshim was 20 amas, right?
The Aron was 10.
And the Beis Hamikdash is shaped, in the Mishkan, it was 10 by 10. Kodesh HaKadoshim.
Well, it's 10. The truth is, it's really 20 square amas, so it's really 10 by 10. 10 by 10 is
100 square amas. 100 square amas.
It's 20 square. It was 20 square amas.
20 square amas.
And the Aron was 2.5 by 1.5 amas. Yeah, so Mamela, when you're making the cheshbonus, that's what the so you basically the Aron didn't take up any space. Whatever, how it's a nace, yeah. And then the Vamar Rabbanai, it gets a little clearer with this one. Vamar Rabbanai Amar Shmuel Kruvim ben Nes Hayu. I mean, the Kruvim were also by Nes. Now, this is not talking about the Kruvim that were on top of the Aron, right? This is talking about Shlomo Melech's additional Kruvim that he made that had wingspans of 10 that he put down in front of the Aron, right? And if the wingspan took up all the space, then what about the body of the Kruvim? So then the body took up no space. So basically it's saying the same thing, that they were in there, but they didn't take up any space. So how come that's not mentioned as a nace? So my answer is Nisi de Broika Chashav. We're only talking about Nisim that happened outside. Nisi de Gavai like a Chashav. But the Nisim that on the inside, it wasn't calculating. So Gemara says, Yachi Lechem Hapanim Nami. Lechem Hapanim was inside. Right, Nisi de Gavai who it's an inside nace. So the Gemara says Lechem Hapanim Nisi de Brayu. No, the Lechem Hapanim was a nace from the outside. Damar Reish Lakish Ma'id Yosef ala Shulchan Atar. It says on the Shulchan that's tar. Tar. It says it's the Shulchan that is pure. It's tar. Mechlal Shu Tamei. That's mashu that the Shulchan become Tamei. How could that be? Now we're on Tamei base. Kli eitz ha'asili nachasu. It's a kli eitz. It's a piece of wood that's meant to be put down, meaning it's meant not to be moved. If a wood kli is not meant to be moved, it can't become tamei. So how is it possible that the shulchan could have possibly become tamei? Any wood kli that's meant to be placed down is not makabel tumah. And not only that, but it's also chaytzitz b'nei tumah. Let's say you put a mace. Let's keep it simple. You put a mace under the table, a table that never moves, right? So then, since it can't become tamei, it's going to block any tumah from going out of it. Ella melamid. So what must it be? Melamid shemagbiya no say la'ile regalim. They used to lift up the shulchan to the oile regalim to show them Look how loved you are in front of the Hashem, that it's just as fresh when we take it off as when we put it down. Like we just said, the same pasuk that we said before. So whatever it is, you see that they were saying two things. So the teretz is that the table was moved. Since the table was moved, it can become tummy. The shulchan can become tummy because it was moved. But the main point the Gemara is trying to make is that that's not considered an inner nace. It's considered an outer nace because they showed everybody what it is. Right? So then they showed everybody what it is. That's not considered like inside the Beis Hamikdash. It's more public. Now the Taisus has an interesting kasha because Lamaisa was wood, but it was coated with gold. Right? So do we consider it wood or do we consider it gold? So really we consider it gold. We go with the what do we just call it? Coated. We go with the coating, so it should be considered metal. So Taisa's answer is no, because the shulchan is called eights. Even though it's supposed to be coated, it's called eights. The practical is this: do you have to toivel China? Right? Do you have to toivel China? China has is earthenware, right? Or it's made out of bone, whichever it is, it's not makabel tumah. But then they put a layer of glass on top of it, which some say it's 1/500th of an inch thick. That glass, right? That's tiny. That's nothing, right? So do we say we go basa what's inside, in which case it doesn't become tamei and you don't need tefillas kalim, or do we say no? The bottom line is we go with the outer. Therefore, I don't know anybody who holds that you make a bracha if you toivel it. Ramosha Feinstein had said that you don't toivel it. A lot of poskim nowadays say that you should toivel it without a bracha. I don't never heard of anybody saying that you should toivel it with a bracha.
Why don't you go on
right? But that's the sugi.
Why don't you go on Roiv? The Roiv, it's not.
Doesn't go with Roiv. It goes with saying that we're here. We go busser the coating. We go with the coating, and the coating is glass. Sometimes the coating is so thin it gets sunk right into the earthenware. Yeah.
The Gemara had that shallow about the shulchan while it was in the midbar or any of the kalim, because in the midbar they were always moving it. Was this only a shallow in the Beis Hamikdash when it was put there for good?
What are you saying?
Meaning the Gemara asked about they asked about the shulchan. It was something that was chokli to asu lanachas and a makabel tama. That was the Gemara's question. The Gemara said, as you see that they must have brought it out, but really it was always moved around during the times of before there was a Beis Hamikdash. It was moved around throughout the midbar. It was something that was being metalful throughout the midbar.
Right. So I don't know how to reconcile that. I think it just means once it hit the Beis Hamikdash.
Meaning once it was in the Beis Hamikdash, it wasn't looking at something that was being metalful.
Right. Yeah. We'll see in the end of Chagiga. The end of Chagiga it discusses that they had to toivel all the kalim after Yom Tiv because they were afraid people would come in as Tomei. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Let's see.
You were asking that. You made that comment a few minutes ago, Rabbi Yaakov, about worrying about the Bali Kari. The Kohen Gadol was a nace that that didn't become Bali Kari. We had the same thing. You were talking about the Lechem Hapanim now. So we had back in Shkolim, we were talking about they were paying double to these guys yet from Alexandria because they had this certain technique to be able to keep the Lechem Hapanim fresh and such. But here we see again, it was a nace over here.
So what are you saying?
So it's the same kasha. We keep bringing up the fact that it's a nace, but yet we go out of our way to go ahead and pay these guys double because they had a certain technique to keep it fresh and stuff like that. It seems like we keep going back on.
You're asking why do you have to do that for?
Right, being ein samech, not being samech on a nace.
2 weeks ago.
Right, it keeps coming up over and over again. They keep pointing out that it's a nace, but yeah, we keep going into ways of having techniques to make sure it doesn't happen.
Right, no, right. That's true, Taka. Right, I hear that. Right, the Lechem Hapanim was a whole avoid, right? Yeah.
I thought the avoid of the Lechem Hapanim
that's very good.
I thought the avoid of the Lechem Hapanim that they paid for was the shape. That was the big problem with the Lechem Hapanim. Was a tefach thick matzah. How do you bake that?
That was I'm looking at my notes over here. That was the base garmu, I think what the name was.
Right. Yeah. They didn't want to teach it to anybody. They don't want to teach it to anybody.
Right. That was the base garment, but then they had the other guys from Alexandria that had a way of keeping it fresh. The two different
Right, that
chavros.
was the next Gemara. Right, that's what it says, right? Yeah, Taka. Very good, very good. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. The Basul Leka, and there was nothing, no other nisim. Before, when Shlomo built the Beis Hamikdash, not to by kol minei megadim shel zav, he built all what do you call it? Minei megadim. Megadim is really it means megadim means like trees or something like that, but it means that he planted trees that grew golden fruit. And they grew fruit the same way regular natural fruit would grow, but it was made out of gold. When the wind blew, they fell off. The gold fell off. Yeah. Shenemar Yirash Kalavanin period. Right? It's made Lavanin is always a reference to the Beis Hamikdash, not always, but a lot of times to the Beis Hamikdash. And Yirash means a rash, right? It's made them fall off. And when the Goyim came into the Beis Hamikdash, it dried up. Shenemar uperach Lavanin umlal, and the growth from the Lavanin is umlal is no longer. It's bad. It's decayed. And Hashem's going to put it back. Shenemar pareach tifrach v'sogel af gilas v'ranen kvoid Lavanin nitim, and it's gonna grow back. And everybody's going to be happy and sing about it, and that's and the covered for Lebanon for the Beis Hamikdash is going to be given back, whatever it is. That was also nice in the Beis Hamikdash. Gold, I mean, money grows on trees. It did it in the Beis Hamikdash, right? It did. That's what it is, right? So nisi dekvi like a chashuv. So the Gemara answers a kavua dikanes, right? That's not counted, right? Meaning it was a one-time thing.
With that money, hektish,
what?
no? Wouldn't that money be considered hektish? The gold? Like who benefits?
Excellent kasha. Very good, Peretz.
I guess if you have unlimited funds, you don't have to donate any more money. Everybody gains.
I don't know.
What's Peretz asking?
He's saying, how could they take, what are they doing with this gold that grew? It's hektish. Right?
What do you mean? When they fell down, you can't be mild by English?
No, but then what do they do with it? You can't use it.
You bury it in the ground.
Why can't you? Who can't use it?
Whoever, nobody. What are you doing with these gold things that fell off in the wind?
What can Hektish use it? Yeah,
No.
Hektish use it.
Oh, Hektish, what's Hektish going to do? I mean, you'd be paid it. Okay, maybe.
They buy it, they buy animals, and they do it over again.
Who said they were gold?
What?
Who said that the fruits were gold? Maybe they were real fruits.
No, it wasn't. No, it was not. That's what would be the chiddush then?
A chiddush that
real
real
fruits grow from gold.
That real fruits grow out of gold. I'm pretty sure anything growing out of gold is a chiddush.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. That would be a chiddush. That would be a chiddush.
I understood it that the vines were gold,
Right.
and the fruits were real.
So I thought that too, and I'm pretty sure I looked at it in Art Scroll today, and it said that the fruits were also gold. I don't know if they bring any.
I don't see it anywhere. I'm looking at the translation. I don't see. It just said it brought forth fruits. It doesn't say anything about what they were.
So then I must have seen it someplace else. I must have seen it someplace else.
I was just learning Mishnayos.
It's been also to grow trees in the Shera. Well, how did he do that, Shlomo Melech?
Yes, that's a different kasha that they would. It's also to grow trees in the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah,
that's how they bring it right. That it was gold. That's why it's gold. It had to be gold because you couldn't really grow real trees.
So that would be a real Ashera. If it
was a real tree.
That would be an Avodah Zarah. If you saw a tree that was growing gold coins, everybody bowed down to it. No, it would be mamish an Avodah Zarah.
Well, either way, it would be an Avodah Zarah.
So how did he do it?
I guess that's not Makasha, but it's not Isser growing trees. It's not like this whole thing he put in there.
It says he can't grow trees in the Migdash. He grew trees in the Migdash.
Well, he built replicas of trees. He didn't grow trees.
What do you built replicas? Where does it say built replicas of trees?
He
In
did
Masechtas
it.
Midas, they talk about these golden vines and that people could donate. They could donate leaves and fruit to put onto them. They said that they were there. There was a holding place when the Mikdash needed to go ahead and cash in for expenses over there. They would take them off from there and be put there. So I don't know if they grew from there, but but people were able to donate onto it.
I hear. I don't know. Maybe you're right, Tak. I thought I saw that it was gold. The fruit was gold too, but could be. I don't know. It's a Gemara on Lamed Tesam at Beis. Okay, we'll have to remember this for then.
I guess Shlomo Melech did whatever he wanted.
That's it.
And see, I don't.
He built Kruvim. He built the idols in the Beis Hamikdash. No, he put Kruvim there on the floor. He did that. He built 10 shulchans. Once you're made built one, he put in 10 because the interior decorator told him to look better. One of his wives said it looked better, so he put 10 in. So
Baron had the exact same shot. Baron had the exact same question. I don't understand. Like, what was he trying to be mechadish in the Beis Hamikdash? They already had They already had everything from the Mishkan. What was he doing extra for every single thing that he needed to copy what happened in the original Mishkan?
I don't know.
I think in his mind, he was making them more bekovidik, made them more fancy than what was in the Mishkan.
The what?
I think in Shlomo Melech's mind, he was making them more bekovidik.
Well, he was born in Hungary. Shlomo Melech was born in Hungary.
The Neshama, he was like us, English Yidden.
He certainly wasn't born in a barn.
I want to kind of like this. In the Mishkan, there was 3 million people by Yisrael. By the time they got to the Beis Hamikdash, there was 15 million in Klal Yisrael.
Yeah. So what?
So you needed more. You needed more bread. You need more everything for everybody.
True that.
So what are you saying?
No, why?
I don't say. So what are you saying? It's part of the nace? You're saying that's why he was growing trees?
Yeah.
I hear. Maybe. I don't know. Now I'm
The Rashi is mashma that the fruit is gold.
I was looking at the Rashi and I couldn't find where.
They makishin zelazeh royeshin v'nishma koylam.
That's
you generally
right,
don't hear. Yeah. Two apples hit each other, they don't make a clang.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay. I guess we'll have to see when we get to Lamed Tes. Either way, that's the kasha whether it grew gold or whether it grew fruits, it's still a nace, right? We're all on the same page that's for sure. One of the two is a nace. So how come it wasn't counted? So what it says, nisi dekvi like a chashiv, right? Things that happened with kvua, right? And it was just a constant thing that's what happened. So then that's not counted. Everything else.
When the Gemara says that all this stopped when the Goyim came in, that's a nice way of saying the Churban Bayis Rishon.
Yes, that's what I thought. Or if you say by Yesheni during when they took over by the Chashmonaim, maybe.
Right, by the Ivanim.
Right. Yeah.
But this was Amamel, so the Neshama was Bayis Rishon anyway.
Yeah.
But Rabanan,
so now the Gemara says.
A gold crystal, it's all grapes.
Correct. So then the Gemara says, Hashadas lahachi aron kruvim nami nisi dekvin. And now, once you're saying that teretz, you could also say the aron and kruvim. The reason why the aron and kruvim weren't part of the 10 is because they were also kviyas. They were set. There was nothing. What's the word? I forgot. That just comes around. Right? It was a set thing. It happened once, and that was it. The Aron happened once, and the Kruvim happened once. Fine. Okay, so Amar Mar. Va'ashan Amar Rocha, and the smoke of the Amar Rocha of the Mizbeach. Umi have Ashan Amar Rocha. Now you said that there was smoke from the Mizbeach. Was there really smoke from there? Vatanya Chamisha Dvarim Nemru Be'esh Shamar Rocha. There's 5 things that it says about the smoke from the Mizbeach. Revutza Kari. It looks like we had Revutza yesterday, right? It means it's crouched. It looked like a lion, whatever that means, right? Ubara Kachama, and it was clear like the sun. You're meaning to say there's nothing, you couldn't really see anything. V'yesh ba mamish, and there was something to it. V'yichelas lachen kiyavation, and it ate liquids the same way it ate dry things, right? Meaning it just ate up everything. Ve'ena maila ashon, and it never let out smoke. So how are you saying that about the ashon maracha if this brisa is saying that that there was no smoke at all? So Gemara answers, Ki kamrinan behehedjit. That's talking about when the hedjit put on the wood. That made smoke. The Tanya v'nosna b'nei Aaron hakohen eisham Mizbeach aval pisha eish yiredz b'shemayim. Right? Really, the fire came from Shemayim, and that ignited the fire that was on top of the Mizbeach. Right? But still, mitzvah lavi min hedjit. It's still mitzvah to bring wood. For a hedjit to bring wood on there. So the fire that came down from Shemayim and a Chanami didn't have any smoke. The fire that came from the wood that the Kohanim put on, then it did have smoke. Okay, Ravutza Kari.
Isn't it?
And it says that it was crouched like a lion, yeah?
Isn't it a machlokes tanoim whether there were 3 or 4 marachas on the Mizbeach? This Eish was the main maracha. The other 3 or 4, the other 2 or 3 were regular fire. They were.
What?
Me'echatesi, they were the Eish min Shemayim. The other 2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay, maybe that's what the Gemara means. No?
That's what the Hedjit means. They're the ones that the Hedjit, the kind of put the wood on.
I hear. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. Ravutza Kari, so crouched like a lion. Vatani Omer of Panina Skana Kayana Maniru see a Ravutza Kelev. It looked like a dog. Okay, I don't know what that means exactly. The smoke looked like it was a lion or a dog. Like Kasha, we ever say Kama Mikdash Rishon, Kama Mikdash Sheni. It's not a Kasha. By Mikdash Rishon, it looked like a lion, and by Mikdash Sheni, it looked like a dog. Right? So the Marsha says that Mikdash Rishon, it looked like a lion because it was built by Yehuda, by Yidden. So Yidden, it's like a Yehuda's like a lion. Then where it says Mikdash Sheni mi havoi. Did the Beis Hamikdash have fire from Shemayim at all? V'amar Rav Shmuel bar Hinoi ma'itichsiv ve'ertzabai bi'ikavda, right? Bi'ikavda, right? Even though it was spelled in the Torah without a hey, it's pronounced like it has a hey, right? V'karinan bi'ikavda, and we read it bi'ikavda, meaning the Torah is spelled without a hey, and we pronounce it as if it had a hey, right? He says, "I'm going to be happy with it, and it's going to be covered." Ma'ishna the mechusar hey. Why did the Torah write it without a hey? Elu chamisha dvarim show you bein mikdash rishon and mikdash sheni. These are the things where there was a difference between the mikdash rishon and mikdash sheni. Ve'elu hein Aaron ukapiris ukruvim, the Aaron and the kapiris and kruvim, which those are 3. That's 3, but it's counted like 1. Rashi says, right? But they didn't have that by the Bayasheni. Eish, the fire from Shemayim, Ushchina, and the Shchina was not by the Bayasheni. Ruach HaKodesh, and Ruach HaKodesh, Urim V'Tumim, and also the Urim V'Tumim. Right now, the Urim V'Tumim is part of the Choshen. So it doesn't mean that there was no Choshen. It just means that that they were able to find out what to do by sticking a piece of paper inside the Choshen that they didn't have at the Bayasheni. Whatever it is, you see that there was no Eish by Bayasheni. When it answers Amri, in Mihavahava, there was Siyu Alay Messiah, but it didn't help. It didn't do anything. Meaning there was fire from Shemayim. It didn't do it. You needed to use your own fire. We needed to use the human fire in order to burn the karbanos. So there was fire there, but it didn't do anything. What?
The point was to show the Shechina was still there to some degree, but the Shechina wasn't there.
I don't. You're right. I have no idea what the point of the fire was.
To show that they were lacking, like the attack was missing. The whole point was to show that it was missing.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Fine. Tana Rabanan. Sheish Eishes, and there's 6 types of fires. There's some that it eats things but it doesn't drink. And then there's some that drink and not eat. And then there's some that eat and drink. And then there's some that it eats the wet stuff the same way it eats the dry stuff. And then there's fire that can push away other fire. And then you have fire that can eat other fire. Now the Gemara goes through what all this means. There's Eish that eats and it doesn't drink. Hadidon, that's our fire, right? Our fire eats things, but liquid, it doesn't drink because the liquid puts it out. That's one. Two is Shaisa Ve'inai, it drinks and it doesn't eat. The chaylan, that's for a chayler. Somebody who has what do you call it? Fever. Somebody who has fever is very thirsty. The fire is burning them up, so they want to drink, but they don't want to eat. Right? That's the second. Chelas v'shaisa, it eats and drinks. Delio, that's by Elio. By it says by the when he was fighting with Baal, so he wanted to show them that their avodah zaras can't burn anything. And then, so their avodah zarah couldn't make any fire coming down from Shemayim. And then he took, what did he take? I don't know what he took. It wasn't karbanos. I guess it was a carbon. He must take
karbanos. He took 10 karbanos and put water around the outside of the thing.
He took, he took 10 karbanos and he flooded it with water, and still the fire came and ate it, even with all the water. So that's a fire that ate both the liquid and the solid. Right? Because it says v'samayim asher basala l'cheika, and the water that was there, it means to lick it up. Fine. Achelas lachin kiyavation, the liquids like solids. That's the maracha, like we said on the fire on the Mizbeach can consume anything. Yesh eish toicha eish, that the fire can push away fire. This we had before. The Gavriel. That's by Gavriel, by Chanani Mishal Azariah. So Hashem sent Gavriel into the fire, and he made it cool inside the fire, and made it hotter outside the fire. Fine. V'yesh eish achelas eish is fire that can eat fire. The Shechina, that's the Shechina. Damar Haysher etzbay b'neim v'sarfay. Right. This is a Gemara. Rashi brings the Gemara that in Sanhedrin that some malachim complained by the Sheshis and Bereshis, and they didn't want Hashem to create the humans. So he put out his finger and it just burned them up, and that was the end of that. Fine. And now we're on to the next thing. So the Gemara said that the smoke from the Maracha, even if the wind blew from all directions, it wouldn't move. We have a major kasha on this. On the last day of the Motzei Shmini Atzeres, everybody looked to the smoke that was coming off the Mizbeach. And if the smoke blew to the north, Aniyim Smechin, the Aniyim were happy, and the Balabatim were sad. The Aniyim were happy because Mipnei Shegishmei Shana Merubin, because that means there's going to be a lot of rain. Uperisein Merkivin, and that means because there's a lot of rain, so there's condensation, and therefore the fruits are going to get rotten. So the rich are going to have to sell the fruits at a very cheap price. So therefore the Aniyim are happy, and the wealthy people are sad. That's if it went to the north. Not the Klapi Darim, if it went to the south, Aniyim Atzavin, the Aniyim would be sad. Ubalebatim Smechin, the Balebatim would be happy. Why? Mipnei Shegishmei Shana Mu'at, and that means there's going to be very little rain. Uperisein Mishtamrin, and they're going to be able to keep their fruits, and they're not going to have to put the fruits on sale to get rid of them. So they're happy. Not the Klapi Mizrach. If it went towards the east, Hakol Smechin, everybody's happy, because then that's perfect. The fruits, the owners of the fruits will make their money, and they won't have to raise the prices. Klapi Ma'ariv, if it goes to the west, Hakol Atzavan, everybody's sad, because the Azav Asi. I'm sorry, that's a teretz. So everybody's sad, right? Which means because if it goes to the south, to the west, then it's going to be the drought, and then the rich people are not going to make money, and the poor people are not going to have anything to eat. So they're going to answer whatever it is. You see that the smoke off the Mizbeach didn't move, right? We said it doesn't move. Here we say, what do you mean? Everybody's making their predictions for, what do they call that almanac? The farmer's almanac. Anybody heard of that? The farmer's almanac, right? So this was their farmer's almanac of what's going to be for that year. So clearly the smoke didn't move. So my answer is, I can't say I really understand this answer. The Azal V'asi Kedikli. it moved back and forth like a decal tree, like a date tree, but it would not dissipate. So it blew, but it didn't, like when you see smoke, so it dissipates into the air. So that it didn't do that, but it just blew, but it didn't dissipate. Okay. At what point did it, it just stayed forever? Right? I don't know. Okay. Amar Mar. Klape Mizrach HaKol Smeich. Went to the east, everybody's happy. Klape Ma'arav HaKol Tzavin. If we went to the west, everybody was sad. It says that this price says that when it goes to the east, it's always good. If it goes to the west, it's always bad. Ruach Tzfainis Yafa Lechitin B'Shashaviyushlish. The north wind is good for wheat that was a third away grown, right? The Kasha Lezeisim, but it's bad for olives, is Manshein Chaitin, when they're almost done, when they're almost ripe. Ruach D'Raim is Kasha Lechitin B'Shashaviyushlish, and a south wind is bad for the wheat when it brings a third, V'Yafa Lezeisim Manshein Chaitin, and it's good for the olives when they're ripe. V'Amar Rav Yosef V'Itema Marzotra, V'Simonech, and the simon to remember is Shulchan B'Tzafan and Menorah B'Darim, that the Shulchan is always in the north side and the Menorah is in the south, meaning the olives is the south. So therefore, when it goes south, that's better for them. So Hai Merabadi Day, Hai Merabadi Day, meaning each one does its own thing. Meaning the Shulchan is for wheat and the Menorah is for the oil, whatever it is. So it's a stira in what's good, which way the smoke blows. It's a stira east-west, whether it's good or bad. So our answer is like kasha halan v'halahu. That's not a kasha, because one is talking about for a bavel, and the second price is talking about bavel, and the first price is talking about Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, meaning depending on where you are, that's when it's going to have a negative effect or a positive effect. Okay, Hadran Allah Shivas Yomim, and now we're on to the second paragraph tomorrow. All right, I apologize. I went a little overtime and I started late. All right, good to know.
L'chaim.
Oh, you home, Peretz? Peretz, you home? L'chaim.
Yeah, I just got home.
And Ravon, make sure to tell your wife happy birthday from the shir.
Oh yeah, happy birthday. There you go. All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Did I miss something?
If you only missed one thing, that's pretty good. You're ahead of me.
No, was it something I said, or was he on fire tonight?
He was on fire tonight. No, you got to know when
okay.
You got to just, you could tell. I've been learning with the man every day. You parents, you
stop recording. The second